Hey, I'm Shane. I'm going to give you a little breakdown video on my digital recorder, the FS5 for the VX, and kind of show you the ins and outs of it. First things first, definitely get a USB-A to USB-A cable. That's how you're going to log the footage from it. I definitely recommend finding one on Amazon because there's other USB-A cables that come with kind of like a weird program built into it. I've seen some that have like, they're really thicker. There's like some sort of program that's built into it, but they won't work with this. Just find a completely basic to basic USB-A, and that's how you'll log your footage on it. Log your clips. Plug in that guy, you'll hit F3, and it's gonna kind of like think for a minute. The more footage you have on here, the more it's gonna be thinking, and eventually it'll pop up on your hard drive. On your desktop as a hard drive. It'll just pop up as like some random number right here, and then you're gonna go down to the examples for the FCP right here. And that's where your files will be in this folder right here. And you can delete them off here into the trash bin, or you can just format it once you're done logging all the clips. But what I definitely do is I'll drag all the clips onto my desktop, just take every single clip, and then I'll filter through that folder in case I miss a clip. But also I've noticed that get to the first spot of the day, film the whole session, and you turn it off. And then once you get to the next spot and you turn it back on and start filming again, the files are all gonna be random. That's kind of the downside, is that the files aren't gonna be like organized. Everything's gonna be mixed up. The more you turn it on and off, it kind of reboots it. Drag all the files, and you kind of have to filter through every single one to find the makes. But what I do is I still mark it after a make. I'll still mark it with my hand. And then when I'm going through all the files, I'll just be like skimming through it really quickly. And if I see my hand, then I know that one's a make. That way I don't have to sit there and watch every single clip every single time. That's kind of my tactic I've been running right now, but maybe there might be a better one down the road. First, eject out of the desktop, and then you'll hit F4. And then I'll eject that guy, and you're all good to go. You can also playback footage on here, but the quality is gonna be really bad. So also what you can do is after the homie landed the clip, you can just go to playback on the VX. And then you press play here, and it will play the last clip, so you can watch the last clip filmed. And the quality through the viewfinder is gonna be way better than the quality on this thing. It's all pretty like low pixels and stuff. So I'd recommend that for the playback if you want to watch the last clip that was filmed. Exactly, yeah. No more CapCam, no more tapes. I mean, tapes are what, like 12 bucks a tape now or something they're going for. This is definitely gonna be saving some money. I got this one off eBay for around 300 bucks, and I definitely think the secret is to find a non-skateboarder who's selling one of these, because I know there's a big marketplace for this now, or a lot of those VX reseller accounts seem to be buying a lot of these and then doubling the price, which, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. But definitely if you can, find a non-skateboarder, and that way you're gonna save some money on these, because these are pretty old tech. These have been around for a minute. Once you turn it on and everything, film in raw DV, don't film in MOV. The audio is gonna be different. When you film in MOV, the audio just sounds like crunching. It doesn't, you can't even tell. It's just complete garbage. And then, if you want, I use MPEG Streamclip to convert. I just usually convert it all to MOV files anyways from DV, because I've noticed that when you film in DV, it doesn't actually date the file. So I like to have my files kind of dated. So when I log the footage that day, and I'll convert it to MOVs, I can actually date like my files and everything, so I know if I need to look back for whatever. For the batteries, you hold down this guy and they kind of fall out, but they don't really fall out. So I kind of taped all my batteries so I can actually have a tag to pull on to get them out easier, because it's an internal hard drive. So I don't want to just keep banging on it to knock out the batteries. I would definitely recommend buying a couple extra ones. I bought 2 more off eBay, found some guy that was selling them, and I just kind of tagged the rest, all of them, just to have little tags to pull in and out of. Usually so far, what I've been using, a battery will last me a full day, but sometimes maybe 2 batteries a day. So not too bad. All you gotta do is record, and then press stop to stop recording. And this is about like 100 gig hard drive, so that's like, what, over 7 hours or something? I don't know, you're chilling on time-wise for footage, that's for sure. How I put mine on the VX, I just bought like some 15-pound tested Velcro, and I just did that. And so far that's been pretty decent. I've been filming with it a lot now and it has not fallen off. Or even, you can even buy more like powerful Velcro if you want to make it really secure. Got it on there, so you could still open the tape deck if you still want to film tape. So I kind of did one here and one here, and just kind of mash it up, so that way you can still use the tape deck if you want to. And then for the FireWire cable, I've seen some people kind of do, they'll mount it the other way around, vice versa. But I found this little guy on eBay for like $8, and I definitely recommend this guy. It seems to be a little more flexible and kind of keeps it a little more compact. I would definitely recommend trying to keep your cables always plugged in, because the more you're going to unplug your FireWire, the more you might wear out the port. That's going to be a headache once you wear that out. So try to keep everything plugged in and mounted, and kind of modify your camera bag to like be able to fit the whole setup in and out, so there's not much pressure being pushed on any of the ports or anything. The only problems I noticed once was when Tarv had bonked the camera and this got loose a little bit and then it was glitching a little bit. Double check and just kind of periodically like make sure everything's plugged in, because if even if it's like halfway plugged in, you know, footage will start actually glitching on this thing. So just kind of make sure your ports are all plugged in nice and tight every time. And then for the settings and everything, right, there's like this wheel's kind of spinning and you can just click right on it and then get to all the other options and things. There's a couple different pages to cycle through: operations and setup and functions. And you can set the different functions for 1, 2, and 3 on these Fs right here, what you want them to do. And then on utilities, you can go to format, and that's how you can format the card if you want to format it. I haven't really experimented too much, but maybe even turning down your LCD brightness, you know, might be able to conserve some battery as well. Might want to keep that in mind too. And then just go back on left to get back to the main screen. And then you'll see raw DV, what you're filming in right now too. Recording setups, record formats right there. And then this is just the center buttons, like the enter button. And you can just do DV or HDV, and the DT format. Run the raw DV for now. Realistically, the quality versus here onto the computer is exactly the same as if you're filming on a mini DV tape. So far, I've noticed no audio difference or no video quality. Everything's been the exact same. I've done a couple tests where I filmed the clip on the tape and then filmed the clip with this guy, and then I compared the two, and they were both the same. And I can link them up in this video right now as well. So yeah, and then even when you do your custom color settings, everything with the sharpness and the color level, everything will reflect back onto here. So pretty much anything the VX is doing, it will record exactly the same onto this guy. Also, I've noticed the VX battery is going to last a lot longer because it doesn't need to power the turning the heads every time you're filming and stopping and going on the recording onto the mini DV tape. So your battery life is going to last longer on the VX too as well, since the camera doesn't have to work as hard as it normally would. If you're not, I definitely recommend using a Tadashi filter. I don't know how people don't use these, especially with even if you have like an extreme fisheye too. Even if you're filming HD, like it's kind of crazy if you don't have one for your MK1 or this. You might low-key be a psychopath maybe, just because the way these things are so rare. And your Mark 1 is, it's like I couldn't even take the risk now, like of it getting scratched. So yeah, I would highly recommend buying these. They're like $30. It's definitely well worth the money for sure. One thing I was kind of nervous about too is adding the weight to the side of the camera. Like I didn't know if that was gonna cause not used to like the balance of the camera, but realistically it's not that much weight and it's pretty mellow. And especially if you go do the Velcro route, you're gonna like have less weight than doing the rigs from down here, that a lot of people will do. This definitely lightens it up even more. And I mean, if you're used to even filming with the HPX and the Extreme, this is still gonna be so much more lighter, so I wouldn't even stress it if you're worried about extra weight or anything. And same with just like the VX when you're done for the day or anything, to keep the battery out so the battery doesn't drain while you're leaving the camera in there all overnight or anything. And same with this guy, take the battery out once you're done for the day. So when I mounted this guy, I did the Velcro on the sides where you can still utilize the tape deck if you take this off to still record on tape if you need to. But I tried to place it where I could still access the wheels and everything, where I can still touch and stuff, and like the exposure wheels, so it's still kind of visible. You can still kind of mess with that stuff. So try to place it where you're not really going to be covering too much, where you can still get in and utilize some of the the buttons on the VX and everything. Keep that in mind. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all the ins and outs of this guy. If anyone else is out there and using it as well and they got any other tips or whatever, I guess comment below or something. Keep adding in the info, keep us updated. But so far I'm pretty hyped on this thing. I would definitely recommend getting one if you're going to keep using the VX.